going to record. Recording is in progress because of Mr. Michael that is not, I don't know if he's coming. Do you know if he's coming?
No, I don't know.
You don't know. Are you sleepy?
No?
No? Okay. Did you come yesterday?
Yes,
Were you in class yesterday?
yes.
Yes.
No,
You
o sea,
say, were you in
ah,
class yesterday?
después del
No.
recreo
On
no, creo que
On
no me
Tuesday.
acuerdo.
On Tuesday. On Tuesday you missed the class after the break. But I think I recorded your class and I should send you the recording, ¿ok?
Bueno,
Debo enviarte la grabación. No solamente esa, creo que la de la semana pasada. ¿Tú faltaste una? No, la recuperamos. Pero tú
okay.
viniste, yo no sé si yo te envié la grabación. Ya voy a chequear
No,
eso mañana. Voy a chequear eso mañana. Okay,
okay.
so let me share the screen here.
No había entrado a la clase porque no vi el mensaje, profe. No,
No,
al
no,
mensaje que te envió ahorita,
ajá,
que no había entrado porque pues no me había llegado el mensaje, pero sí no iba a faltar,
ajá, ok,
porque,
está
bueno,
bien. Ya tiene falta anterior, ok. Entonces, por favor, no falte. Bueno, okay, here we are. Do you remember this? No, because you didn't attend this class, did you? No, tú no asististe a esta. Ok,
no.
vamos a ver. Vamos a pasar este que está acá, el Grammar Focus, que está ok, first of all, tell me, what is the day today, Isa? What is the day today?
Thursday, June
16th.
16,
20.
2022.
Okay, good. I'm going to close this. And if Michael doesn't come, this class is being recorded. Okay, now observe this grammar focus is about frequency adverbs, adverbs of frequency, okay? Adverbs of frequency. Let's repeat them all. Pay attention to this, okay? The frequency adverbs. What are the frequency adverbs? Always, usually, sometimes, hardly ever, never, okay? Often. What are they? Okay, for example, do you always drink coffee? Yes, I do. I
Mm,
always drink coffee. Okay. Do you always drink water? Yes,
eh,
I usually drink water. Usually drink water. Do you understand this? Usually.
yes,
Do you ever drink whiskey? No, I never drink whiskey. Okay. Do you usually drink tequila? No, I hardly ever drink tequila. Okay. Do you drink orange juice? Yes,
yes,
I sometimes drink orange juice. Okay. Do you ever drink milk? Yes, I often drink milk with my coffee. Okay. But alone. No, no, no. Okay. So these are frequency adverbs of frequency. And observe the place of the frequency adverb, the adverbs of frequency in the sentence. I always eat. I usually eat. I often eat. The adverb is in the middle between the subject and the verb. Okay. Pay attention to this. Okay. Listen.
Page 61. Exercise 7. Grammar focus. Adverbs of frequency.
I always eat breakfast.
I always eat breakfast.
I usually eat breakfast.
I usually eat breakfast.
I often eat breakfast.
I often eat breakfast.
I sometimes eat breakfast.
I sometimes eat breakfast.
I hardly ever eat breakfast.
I hardly ever eat breakfast.
I never eat breakfast.
I never eat breakfast.
Sometimes I eat breakfast.
Sometimes I eat breakfast.
Do you ever have fish for breakfast?
Do you ever have fish for breakfast?
Yes, I always do.
Yes, I always do.
Sometimes I do.
Sometimes I do.
No, I never do.
No, I never do.
Always. Usually.
Usually,
Often.
often,
Sometimes.
sometimes,
Hardly ever.
hardly ever,
Never.
never. Okay, observe that often is
Times I
pronounced,
do.
okay? The word
Often.
is pronounced often,
Sometimes.
not often, okay? The T sound is
Hardly
mispronounced.
ever.
The D sound is mispronounced. You don't pronounce often, but often, often, okay? The same as afternoon. You never say afternoon. For Americans, they say afternoon, afternoon. They omit the T, okay? And remember, the frequency others go after the subject and before the verb, right? After, this is the place of the frequency others. However, but sometimes can be here before the verb, but it could be before the subject. This is the only exception of the rule, okay? Sometimes could be placed at the beginning of the sentence, okay? And ever is usually used in the question. Ever is usually used in the question. And the meaning would be alguna vez has comido pescado? ¿Alguna vez comes pescado? Huh? Do you
Sí,
ever
sí.
eat fish? Okay. Now, let's go to page 140. Vamos a irnos a la página 140. So that you can practice the position of the others of frequency of the sentence. I'm going to explain it again. Pay attention to this. Others of frequency usually go before the main verb. Always, almost always, usually, often, sometimes, hardly ever, almost never, or never. You can place them here. Observe, before the verb, before the verb. Never eats, okay? She never eats breakfast. Almost, almost always. This is the verb, so it goes before the verb. Almost always. I almost always have tea in the morning, okay? Sometimes can also begin the sentence. For example, you can say, sometimes I eat broccoli. But you can also say, I sometimes eat broccoli, okay? You have two possibilities. Can you
Y
please
tampoco se
read?
puede decir, profesor, y tampoco se puede decir, I eat broccoli sometimes.
No, esto no es usual, que tú coloques el sometimes aquí al final, no. Lo usual es que se coloque en el medio entre el sujeto y el verbo en la oración afirmativa, ¿ok? Antes del verbo. Puede estar antes del sujeto el sometimes nada más. Los demás no es usual. En otra posición, no es usual sometimes. Okay, rewrite the conversation, add the adverbs in the correct places. Se reescriben las conversaciones, pero se colocan los adverbios de frecuencia que tiene dentro de paréntesis. ¿Dónde lo va a colocar? Antes del verbo. ¿Eh? El verbo es have,
Ok.
antes de have. Así, la única opción que tiene variable es el sometimes, que puede colocar sometimes y aquí no lo presentaron. ¿Ok? Pero dígalo pues. Okay, can you please start? Number 1A.
Where do you have lunch? Where do you usually have lunch?
Okay, where do you usually have lunch? Sería como decir en castellano, ¿dónde usualmente tú te tomas tu almuerzo? ¿Dónde te comes tu almuerzo? ¿Dónde almuerzas usualmente? El usualmente en castellano no tiene posición, tú lo puedes colocar al final, al comienzo, en el medio. Pero en inglés, los adverbios de frecuencia se colocan antes del verbo. Te recuerdo entonces, en castellano tú puedes decir, usualmente, ¿dónde comes el almuerzo? O puedes decir, ¿dónde comes el almuerzo usualmente? O ¿dónde tú usualmente comes el almuerzo? O sea, no tiene una posición definida. Pero en inglés sí. ¿Ok? Tiene una posición definida. Dime, ¿te preguntabas algo?
No, no.
Ok. Continue with the second one. Okay, I go to a restaurant near work.
I go to the restaurant near work often. I go often.
No, no,
I
el verbo
often
es go. I often go. Come on, do it.
I often go to a restaurant near work.
I often go to a restaurant near work. Letter A now.
Do you eat at your desk ever? Do uh, do you ever
Do you ever,
eat,
okay, continue.
eat at your desk?
Do you ever eat at your desk? Okay, that's it. Letter B.
No, I stay in for lunch. Hardly ever. Uh, I uh, I hardly
Hardly ever, okay, I hardly ever.
in for lunch.
I hardly ever stay in for lunch. Stay in for lunch, okay? Continue with the next one. What do you say?
Uh, and what do you have usually? Uh, and usually
Uh-uh, uh-uh.
no. And what do you usually have?
And what do you usually have? And what do you usually have? Recuérdate que siempre va antes que el verbo, okay? Continue.
I have soup or a salad.
I have
Always.
soup or a salad.
I always have soup or a salad.
I always have soup or a salad. Okay, good. Continue.
Me too. I have a big lunch. Never. Me too. I never have a big lunch.
I never have a big lunch. Comprendido que el adverbio de frecuencia va antes del verbo y que la única excepción es sometimes, ¿ok? Que puedes colocarlo al comienzo o antes que el verbo, ¿ok? So here we are. Let's go back again to page, what page is it? 61. On page 61, here you are again. But you're going to practice a little bit about the frequency, the adverb of frequency. You put the others in the correct places. Then practice with the partner. For example, the first one is usually. Usually should be placed here. Okay. Read the sentence, please. Number one. Read. Do you usually? Come on, repeat it.
Do you yeah. Do you usually have a big breakfast?
Do you usually have a big breakfast? Okay. What do you say for letter B?
Well, on Sunday I have
Wait a minute.
always have a big breakfast with my friends.
Include always, please. Include always.
On Sundays I always have a big breakfast with my friends.
Okay, yes. Well, on Sundays, I always have a big breakfast with my friends. Okay, what do you say about the next one?
Do you eat breakfast at work on weekdays? Ever? Do you ever eat breakfast at work on weekdays?
Do you ever have breakfast or do you ever eat breakfast at work on weekdays? Okay, ever in this position. Continue with the next one. What do you say?
Yes, I have breakfast at the office sometimes. Yes, I sometimes have breakfast at the office restaurant.
Yes, I sometimes have breakfast at the office restaurant. Sometimes. And what is next after that? Or you can also say, yes, sometimes I have breakfast at the office restaurant. Remember that you can place sometimes before the verb or at the beginning of the sentence before the verb, before the subject. Okay, continue.
Uh, yes, I have breakfast at the office restaurant. Ah, no.
Ok, ok.
Uh,
No, hay que poner la manito donde no era. Dale, aquí.
do you eat breakfast at your desk often? Do you often eat breakfast at your desk?
Okay, do you often eat breakfast at your desk? Repeat breakfast. Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Okay, breakfast. Okay, some people pronounce breakfast, but it is not usual. Most of people say breakfast. Breakfast. Okay, breakfast. Do you often eat breakfast at your desk? What do you say for the last one?
No, I eat hardly ever
No,
breakfast. No, I
no, no.
hardly even ever eat breakfast at my desk.
No, I hardly ever eat breakfast at my desk. I hardly ever eat
Bueno,
breakfast.
you me
Okay,
corregiste.
good. You corrected yourself. No problem, no problem. Okay, what about the last one? Okay, no, this is the last one. This is okay. No, I hardly ever eat breakfast at my desk. Okay, now pay attention to this. Unscramble. This is a scramble of words. You know what a scramble is? It's like when you are going to eat eggs and you scramble the eggs,
Ah,
scramble, okay? Scramble. ¿Cómo se llaman eso? ¿Cómo se llama? What do you eat
batí.
for breakfast? Eggs,
Eh,
scrambled eggs. ¿Qué sería scrambled eggs?
huevo revuelto.
Huevo revuelto. Bueno, aquí tenemos un revoltillo, un huevo revuelto, ¿ok? ¿Por qué? Porque todo está en desorden. Póngalo en orden, ¿ok? Dice, I have hardly ever beef for lunch. I hardly ever have beef for lunch, ¿ok? What do you do for number two? But repeat number one. I hardly ever have beef for
I
for
hardly
lunch.
ever have beef for lunch.
Okay. Can you unscramble this, please?
When, ¿qué?
When
Uh, when I watch TV, I never eat snacks.
I never eat snacks. Okay. Or you can also say I never eat snacks when I watch TV. No problem. Okay. No problem.
Oh,
You can say both. In the first one, I never eat snacks when I watch TV, but you can also say when I watch TV, comma, you have to write a comma, I never eat snacks, okay? Continue with the second one. Number three, sorry, the third one.
um,
I,
I sometimes eat eggs for breakfast.
okay, but there is another possibility. What is it? What is the other
Um,
possibility?
I eat sometimes.
No,
No, I eat eggs. Ya no me lo digo, profe, no me lo diga. For for breakfast, I eat.
no,
I for breakfast, I sometimes eat eggs.
no.
No.
Can you repeat it, please?
Okay, yeah. Sometimes I
Good.
eat eggs for breakfast.
Sometimes I eat
Yes.
eggs for breakfast, okay? Or I sometimes eat eggs for breakfast. Sometimes I eat, or I sometimes eat. I sometimes eat eggs for breakfast, or sometimes I eat eggs for breakfast, okay? You have two possibilities. Two possibilities. Tell me the other one. What do you say for number four?
I usually
Yes, I usually. That's okay. What is the problem?
usually have dinner with my family.
Can you repeat it again, please?
I usually have dinner with my family.
That's correct. I usually have dinner with my family. I usually have dinner with my family. No other possibility. Now, rewrite the sentences from part B with your own information. Then compare with the partner. Well, in my case, for example, mm, I mm, I never have beef for lunch. Never. When I watch TV, I sometimes eat snacks. I sometimes eat snacks. Okay, not never, but sometimes. Okay, and this one, I hardly ever eat eggs for breakfast. I hardly ever eat eggs for breakfast. Not sometimes, but hardly ever. And the last one, I usually have dinner with my family. I usually have dinner with my family. I usually have dinner with my family. Okay, you can replace the adverbs of frequency and you can replace and repeat all the sentences. Isa,
Con mis
with your
propias
own
respuestas.
ideas, you can replace, for example, hardly ever for usually. Or you can replace instead of never, always. Or you can say instead of sometimes, you can say often. Instead of saying usually, you say never. Because you never eat breakfast or you never eat dinner with your family. Okay? You eat
Ah,
dinner alone in your bedroom, for example. Okay? And it's your decision. Lo único que tu padre te va a agarrar y te dice, no, señor, véngase a comer aquí con la familia. ¿Cómo comen ustedes?
sí,
¿Juntos?
es así.
¿O cada quien come en su cuarto?
No, todos comemos juntos,
¿Ah?
la mayoría de veces.
¿Y
La
alguna
mayoría
vez que
de
te llevas el plato de comida para el frente del
veces.
televisor en tu cuarto no te forman un lío?
A veces.
A veces. Entonces tú tienes que decir, my father sometimes scolds me when I take my plate or my dish to my bedroom. ¿Ok? Ahí está diciendo, mi papá a veces me regaña cuando me llevo mi plato de comida para el cuarto.
¿Cómo es que se dice en inglés?
¿Ah? ¿Cómo se dice regaña? Scolds. Déjame
School.
escribírtelo. Scolds. Es más, para no escribírtelo, tú sabes que es más fácil que escribir. Dime qué es más fácil que escribir.
Ah,
¿Qué es más fácil que escribir? A ver,
dibujarlo.
dímelo.
Dibujarlo, no sé.
Dibujarlo. No, el más fácil que escribirlo es esto. Vamos a ver.
No. No.
No.
Es el
Listen.
profesor. No.
My father usually scolds me when I take my dish to
Yes.
my bedroom. My dish. I should have said my dish, not my my dish. Okay? My father usually scolds me when I take my dish to my bedroom. Okay? You understand this?
Yes.
Okay, is it clear?
Mi padre
Yes.
generalmente me regaña cuando llevo mi plato a mi habitación.
Okay, there is another possibility. Instead of saying usually, you can say always. Let me say, okay, let me correct my mistakes. My father always scolds me when I take the dish of my meal to my bedroom. My father always scolds me. Ay, aquí un error, no lo pronuncié bien o el internet me falló. Scolds me. Apréndete ese verbo, pues. Scolds me when I take the dish of my meal to my bedroom.
Mi padre siempre me regaña cuando llevo el plato de mi comida a mi habitación.
Okay? Do you understand this? Scolds me. Can you
Okay,
repeat
my
it?
father usually scolds me when I take my dish uh,
To my
um,
bedroom.
to my bedroom.
Okay? Or you can also say, my father often scolds me when I watch television while eating.
Mi padre a menudo me regaña cuando veo televisión mientras como Simo.
Como Simo. ¿Cómo es eso? ¿Eh? Fíjate como Simo. ¿Qué es eso? Si ahí dicen while eating, while eating. No entiendo cómo. ¿Qué es esto? Mientras como. Se quedó pegado esto, le dio la locura. Le dio la locura a esto. ¿Ok? Ahora tú también puedes decir de altanera. My father never scolds me when I take my dish to my bedroom. I do what I want and my father doesn't scold me. Escúchame esta altanería tuya, mira.
Mi padre nunca me regaña cuando llevo mi plato a mi habitación. Hago lo que quiero en mi padre no me regaña.
Ah, tú haces lo que te da la gana. ¿Así es? No creo. Tú eres una niña demasiado obediente, no eres altanera ni nada por el estilo. Y hay que tú te resbales porque tu papá te agarra, cara. ¿Ok?
No,
¿Sí o no? No, mentira. No, ¿cómo se porta tu papá? Ok. Bueno, y aquí dijimos algo. Dime algo acerca de los huevos. ¿Cuántas veces? ¿Bastantes veces? ¿Todo el tiempo? ¿O nunca comes huevos en el desayuno? ¿Cómo lo dices tú? Dímelo.
I usually eat eggs for breakfast.
Ok. Usually. Not sometimes, but usually. Dime la otra. Tell me the other one. This one. Puedes cambiar el usually si tú quieres. No hay problema. Puedes poner como never.
¿Cuál es la otra?
Number four. Ay, qué momentico. Es que no te estoy compartiendo la pantalla, hombre. Ya va. O si te la estaba compartiendo, ¿no? ¿No la compartía?
Bueno, es que me sé más o menos las preguntas, por eso es que le estaba
Ah, pero tú tienes una excelente memoria porque, a ver, ¿estás viendo la hora? ¿Va a aparecer aquí? Esta apareció.
Ajá.
La número 4, ¿qué dice?
When I watch TV, I usually
I usually
eat
watch TV.
snacks.
I
When I
usually
watch TV, I usually eat snacks.
eat snacks when I watch TV, or when I watch TV, I usually, not never, but usually, okay, eat snacks, okay. Bueno, la idea es ir cambiando estas oraciones y meterle los adverbios de frecuencia adecuados a tu condición. Y aquí voy a escucharlo de los compañeros, porque esto resume que cada quien lee su narrativa, ¿ya? Si estuvieses en una clase, pues cada quien, Pedrito, Juanito, Josefina, José, hablan de sus menciones, ¿ok? La frecuencia con que realizan estas acciones. ¿Comprendiste el por qué se hace?
Sí.
Se hace para aprender la ubicación de los adverbios de frecuencia y aprender cuándo usar siempre, cuándo usar nunca, cuándo usar algunas veces, cuándo usar a menudo, cuándo usar hardly ever, rara vez, muy escasamente. Hardly ever es este que está aquí, el primero. ¿Ok? Si tú
Casi
digas, por
nunca.
ejemplo, I hardly ever drink tequila. Yo sí he tomado tequila, pero... Y por ahí una botellita, pero... Raro que yo tomo uno. Son muy fuertes. Más, mi esposa me regaña. Entonces, está bien. Ok, nos quedan 10 minutos para la conclusión de la primera hora. Vamos a irnos a la siguiente.
¿Sí?
Let's continue. De los primeros 40 minutos, sí, 10 minutos. O sea, ya pasó media hora. Vamos a la página que sigue. What is the next page? page 62. Here you are on page 62, okay? And pay attention to this, okay? What is the title of this listening exercise? Can you read it, please?
Carrots are my favorite.
Ok, ¿entiendes el título?
Las zanahorias son mis favoritas.
Es correcto, la zanahoria es lo que yo prefiero. Son mis
A
favoritas.
mí me gusta
Okay, listen to Devon and Victoria. Devon and Victoria are talking about food. How often does Victoria eat these foods? Listen and check. Often, sometimes, or never. Often, sometimes, or never. Victoria is talking, okay? Listen to Victoria and listen to Devon. Devon and Victoria. Devon. Oh, no quiere salir.
Page 62. Exercise 8. Listening. Carrots are my favorite.
Carrots.
Part A. Devon and Victoria are talking about food. How often does Victoria eat these foods? Listen and check often, sometimes, or never.
So, what looks good, Victoria?
I don't know yet.
Well, the soup is really good. Do you like noodles?
Oh, yeah. I often eat noodles for lunch. I just don't want them tonight.
Okay. Well, the chicken is great here. How about that?
Oh, no. I never eat chicken. I don't like meat.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes I have fish or eggs, but I never eat chicken or beef.
So, do you eat a lot of vegetables?
Yes. Carrots are my favorite. I often have some in the afternoon for a snack.
Okay, tell me, where do you check about chicken for Victoria? Often, sometimes, or never?
Never.
Never eat chicken. Never. So you say she never eats chicken. So I'm going to click on here, right? What do you say about the other one? What do you say about the other one? How often does Victoria eat fish?
She eats fish and eggs sometimes.
Sometimes sometimes eggs, sometimes fish, sometimes fish, sometimes eggs. Okay.
Often.
And carrots often. Okay, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. The answers are here. But it doesn't work. My goodness, it doesn't work. Okay, now pay attention to this. Here are the answers. Okay, can you compare the answers here? Are you okay?
Yes.
Yes? Is that okay? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is that
It's
okay?
okay.
It's okay. So you say chicken, never. Fish and eggs, sometimes. But carrots, often. Okay? So no problem. Okay? Let's continue. Group work. Bueno, este es un trabajo que no podemos hacerlo aquí porque esto es para una clase real, una clase presencial, no una clase virtual. Lo podemos hacer rápido aquí entre tú y yo,
Miguel
pero
mandó
esto
unos mensajes por el
no hay
grupo,
ni siquiera
profe.
un C. ¿Ah?
Miguel
Dime.
mandó unos mensajes por el grupo.
Ay, mira, llegó Miguel, llegó el tercero. Ok, ahora sí. ¿Qué dices tú del grupo?
Que Miguel había mandado unos mensajes por el grupo.
Ah, ya, bueno, no, ni lo vi porque estamos ocupados. En todo caso.
Perdón.
Miguel is sick. Okay, don't worry, it's okay. Hello, Miguel. Now,
No,
observe. Do you...
le explico lo que pasó, perdón. ¿Ah?
¿Sí? ¿Qué pasó?
Bueno, resulta que acontece que tenía el teléfono con batería baja, entonces lo puse a cargar y me puse a ver un par de videos en YouTube y se me pasó el tiempo volando.
No importa. Esto está grabando y todo. Acá te va a mandar. No he mandado todavía la clase de Isabela. Tengo que grabarla y tengo que pasarla.
Me siento mal
¿Ok?
por llegar media hora tarde. Siento que esto no debe
tranquilo.
ser así.
Tranquilo. Es más, Ya se nos va a cortar, en 5 minutos eso se corta, ¿ok? En 3, 4, 5
Ok.
minutos, o sea que tranquilo. Do you ever eat foods, these foods, the foods in the part A? For example, you're talking about carrots, noodles, and eggs. Noodles. Do you eat maruchan? Do you eat maruchan?
No, I doesn't eat Maruchan.
Never.
Never.
You don't
I
eat
don't
maruchan.
like Maruchan.
But
No.
Nicole told me that you always ate noodles. Okay. Do you eat noodles, Isabella?
Yes. No, no, always no.
No. What do you say?
Uh,
Sometimes?
no, hardly ever.
I hardly ever eat noodles. I almost never eat noodles. Well, I almost never eat noodles. Okay, let me ask you another question. Do you ever eat chicken, Miguel?
Yes, sometimes
I
I
do.
eat chicken
You say
sometimes. Yes, I do.
chicken. You say
Sí,
yes, I
egg
sometimes
chicken.
do. You can say I
Yes,
sometimes do
I
or
sometimes do.
sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Okay.
Sometimes
Do
I
you
do.
eat fish?
Okay.
Do you eat fish, Isabella? Do you eat fish?
Sometimes.
Sometimes you say, sometimes I eat fish. Sometimes I do. Okay. I hardly ever eat fish. I don't like it. Okay. Do you eat eggs, Miguel? Do you ever eat eggs?
Yes, I sometimes eat eggs.
Okay.
Yes,
How about you?
sometimes.
Okay. How about
Isabella.
you, Isabella? How often do you eat eggs?
Uh, usually.
How often do you eat eggs? Do you eat eggs frequently? Do you frequently eat eggs?
Usually.
Usually. So you say, I usually eat eggs. Okay?
I usually eat eggs.
Okay. Miguel, do you eat carrots? Do you ever eat carrots?
Ne yes, I never eat carrots.
You have to say no. No. I never eat carrots. I never eat carrots because it's negative.
Okay.
If you say never, you have to say no. Okay? Isabella, do you ever eat carrots?
No, I never eat carrot.
Well, I often eat carrots. Almost always, almost all the times. My wife prepares salads with tomatoes and carrots, okay, and potatoes. My wife prepares rice with carrots, meat with carrots, everything with carrots. Okay, everything with carrots, okay?
Le gusta
That's
mucho
okay.
la ensalada y las pericias.
Okay, mealtime survey. Speaking. Add 2 questions about mealtime habits to the chart. Then ask 2 people the questions. For example, write the names and complete the chart. For example, here I write, for example, Isa and Miguel. If I ask you, do you always have a big breakfast, Isabella? Do you always have a big breakfast, Isabella?
No, I mm,
Isa,
uh,
do you
I
always eat breakfast, Isabella?
I sometimes.
I sometimes do. So I sometimes do. I don't know what is happening here, but it doesn't work. You see?